I'm Heather from booktubes, and I am so excited for today's video. So I had an empty slot. I took a couple things out. I had like a recommendation video that I didn't have enough recommendations for, and I was looking to fill my video spot, and I asked on a live on Shay with the Hobbies, her channel, for an idea. And Kashay gave me this idea, and then Britt from Britt and Nicole from Who Picked This Book helped evolve it a little bit. They were also like, yeah, do that. And then I took it and moved it around a little bit to fit books that I have to talk about. So what this is these are books that they were kind of going for DNFs and stuff, like why would I DNF a book? But I went for books where there's like one particular thing that kept it from being top tier for me, from being so good, and that thing bugged me and I couldn't get over it. So these are not bad books, these are not badly written books, these are not things where a long list of things drove me nuts. This is where I loved the book, and then there was like this one thing that I was just like, but why did you do that to me? We could have had a great thing going. Instead, I'm deeply annoyed. So you might see some favorite authors on this list, just saying, because like, again, these are not bad books. These are not books I hated. I have recommended several of these. I've talked about enjoying them, and I've also talked about how there was one thing, all except for one of these I've read this year. So here we go. First one is A Taste of Her Own Medicine by Tasha L. Harrison. I have waxed poetic about my love for If She Says Yes by Tasha L. Harrison, and A Taste of Her Own Medicine has so much goodness in it. It is again an older woman, younger man. She is divorced with 2 teenage kids and is trying to make her skincare shop a viable living option for her, and so she's taking these business classes, and the teacher of the business class, the module, is the love interest, and he is amazing. He is perfection. It is so good. And she has a lot of her spirituality rooted in African beliefs. It's a whole thing. There's a lot of crystal work, a lot of different things, and it's so well done. Tasha L. Harrison does talk about this quite a bit on like Twitter and stuff like that. It's so good. I loved this book so much. And then Tasha L. Harrison, listen, I love her Twitter, but she talks about how, like, I think, unless I'm mixed up, she talks about how the characters are doing this thing or forcing this thing, which for me, I know a lot of authors do, but it's hard for me to understand because I don't have characters living in my head, like at all. I don't have storylines living in my head. So for it to be like these characters are making these decisions and I'm mad at them, it's weird for me because I'm like, but you're the author, just change it. But obviously it's a whole method of writing, which I find fascinating because I can't relate, I can't understand it because there's nothing in here to do that. The thing that drove me to the brink in this book, it happens at the end. It's the 3rd act breakup. You're probably gonna see this as a theme. I was so mad at the main character because she's out having lunch with her boyfriend, this younger man. Everything is going fantastic. She's getting everything she wants in life. She's so successful and she's in love and he treats her so well, and I'm so happy for her. And then her douchebag ex sees her out with this man and throws a fit in public and is like, you should be ashamed of yourself. And then she is like, you're right, and breaks up with her perfect boyfriend. I love him so much. She loved him so much. He loved her so much. He didn't do anything wrong. Just her ex was like mad about it. I was like, you should be ashamed of yourself. And so she broke up with him. I was like, excuse me, ma'am, you've divorced this man because he's such an idiot, because you can't respect him, because he doesn't respect you, because you have so many issues. You would not take his opinion on what type of sandwich to buy at a restaurant, you would not take his opinion about what flower to plant in your garden because he doesn't know what he's talking about. But you are going to let his little hissy fit cause you to break up with the man who has actually brought you happiness? I was so upset. I was so upset. I was like, why are we doing this? No, like if I was your friend, I would be telling you what an idiot you are right now. What are you doing? So yes, that does get me worked up a little bit. That was the only thing. And it doesn't even last super long. It's like one chapter and then they're back together at the end of the book. But I was just not on board with the decision-making process because I could not understand what she was doing. Why? Moving right along. Yona of the Dawn is a very popular fantasy romance manga, and I've only read the first volume, and I was really excited to read it, and I do want to continue because they have told me that it gets better, but she got on my very last nerve. She's a teenager, she's naive, okay, that's fine. But she's literally in love with this man because he gave her a hair decoration and is convinced that he can do no wrong because he gave her a hair decoration and doesn't believe her eyes because he was so nice and gave her a hair decoration. And I just have issues with it. A lot of issues with it, but she was just so naive and so dumb and like not understanding what was in front of her and like pouting over her boyfriend that wasn't her boyfriend because he just gave her a hair decoration, and I was not having a fun time. I was not having a good time. Do I want to continue? Yes. Have I heard that she gets better? Yes. Do I think that the overall storyline is probably really fun? Also, yes. But there was no reason for any of her decision-making skills, and that was a problem. Next, I have Twisted Love by Huang. She is an incredible writer. I really enjoy her writing style. This one is a grumpy sunshine brother's best friend. There's a little bit of a morality chain happening where he wants to do good for her sake, and she's trying to like get emotions out of him, and the whole thing was delightful. Their banter, the relationship, his internal turmoil and trying to line up different priorities at the same time. All of that greatness. Loved it. And then she finds out what he's been hiding from her, and he pushes her away, and then they break up for over a year. They break up for over a year with him following her like every day and her refusing to talk to him or touch him or do any of the things. That is not a breakup. That's not a third act break. What? No. No, I'm sorry. If it takes you a year to forgive me for a mistake, no. No. I'm not trying anymore. Like, if I were his friend, I would have been like, dude, this is a non-starter. Move on. I'm sorry. If I were her friend, I would have been like, you are being yeah. Like, there is no reason for you to be treating this man like this if you're going to get back with him in the first place. If you're completely done and never going there again, okay. You know, breakups are fine. But if you plan on getting back with him and you're going to make him wait a year of following you around every day, like, he did not deserve that. Okay? He did not. And I am still really mad about it because what was the point? There was no point. Why would you break up for a year? Why would you break up for a year? No. So mad. Next I have First Comes Blood by Lilith Vincent. I enjoyed this book, right? All of these so far I think have been 4 stars for me. Okay, so I enjoyed the book. Is a dark reverse harem mafia romance. She's the mayor's daughter. They are the different heads of the mafia. They, because of trauma, have decided a long time ago that they would like to share one woman and try and keep her safe that way because one of them could always be with her. Do they leave her all on her lonesome? Yes, so explain to me the point. Is she now the target for everybody that's mad at any of them? Yes. So again, explain to me the point. All right, whatever. I can get past that. What I can't get past, mind you, I'm still enjoying this, still reading the trilogy, but I have a major issue with this. Why do they like her? Why did they like her? She is literally just an average 18-year-old. They're all like in their 20s to 30, low 30s. They're all grown men and she is a child. And she's a pally-browly, naive child. And they're like, oh, the trauma, the darkness has touched her and made her one of us. I'm like, but she still doesn't know what she's doing and is making poor decisions and is just a brat. I don't see what all four of you see in her, much less just one of you, but all four of you, like, I understand that she's hot, but that's all we've got going for her. I don't see it. I'm still gonna finish it. I don't see it. Next, we have Stolen by an Alien by Amanda Milo. This was raved about by Bree from 11 Words. I started reading it. I was messaging her. I was like, this is funny. I DNF'd it at 75%. And you want to know why? It was really good. Except the entire focus of the plot, the entire conflict, the whole thing was a giant plot hole. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense at all. I couldn't. And she dragged out too long. Again, 75% we're still dealing with the same non-starter issue. No, I couldn't do it anymore. I could not do it. I was like, but it doesn't make sense. We have an alien, okay? And he has rescued this human. And the humans resemble greatly a different race, which are kind of called princesses. And the princesses, they have harems. And the group of aliens that serve them, if they have his race of alien in there, he has to be the guard, and they can't get attached, because if they get attached and like mate to the princess, they won't let other males near her. They'll kill them. Even if they were friends, they'll kill them. And the princesses can't have just the one guard dude. They need like their harem, their group of hobs is what it is. Okay. All right, so he rescues her thinking that she's the princess alien, and he gets attached, right? So he's breaking this great protocol. So when that happens, he's put to death and the princess is forced to watch. And if she has enough connections with the other hobs, sometimes she can survive, sometimes she doesn't, but it's done in public. It is a big deal to discourage this type of behavior. The princess cannot indulge his possessiveness, right? So he's attached to her. All right, she's his mate. Okay, all right, we're fine. 75% through the book, he's still talking about how they're gonna kill him for getting attached to her, and I'm like, but you all know she's not a princess. You found out that she's a human, so you're not allowed to make the princess, which again is a type of alien, because their family will protect them and will kill you, and their society will kill you. 75% through, we're still acting like you're gonna die for meeting this human who is not one of those races, and you know she's not, and you've said she's not, and you have witnesses that know she's not, and you have other humans. Why are we still pretending like you're gonna die a tragic public death for meeting her when she's not even of that race? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. She's a freaking human. You know she's a human. Why are you trying to get her to attach to some hobs so that she can make it when you're put to death for loving her? It's not a crime. She's a human. I couldn't anymore. So annoyed. Next, we have Break Me by Meagan Brandy. This is another 4-star for me. So, in fact, I think everything except for the DNF is 4 stars for me. Break Me by Meagan Brandy. New adult, dark, kind of gangish activity related. And he wants to get her to punish her brother who has stepped out of line, but obviously he falls for her instead. And loves her, worships the ground she walks on, but, you know, has to break things that he's too attached to because he's damaged. So he publicly breaks up with her and is like, I don't ever want to see you again. And she is like, I know what you're doing. I wish you wouldn't do it. And he's just like, no, you will be safer without me. I'm going to break your heart in front of everyone. And then changes his mind 2 minutes later. But it's like the entire point, like it's a completely pointless breakup for drama's sake only, for the third act breakup sake only. And it's dumb. And I'm supposed to believe that he's never going to panic and break up with you again? You're just going to live happily ever after this. Okay, all right. Okay, Tim. But I do love the book. I love Meagan Brandy as an author. I really enjoy her writing. But they didn't need to break up, and it was dumb that they did. Next, I have Fixed Her Up by Tessa Bailey. This is kind of friends to lovers. She's been in love with him for forever. He was a professional baseball player. His career is now tanked, and he is diving into alcoholism and depression, and she's trying to get him out. And they have fake dating, and she's a clown for parties, which I can't relate to, but whatever. And her family doesn't take her seriously. Her family is the most toxic, ridiculous, annoying. I just wanted to stab her dad right in the eye. It's so annoying. She's like 23, 26, something like that, right? And he's with her, and they're at family dinner, and the family's having an argument, and she tries to say something, and her dad is like, Georgie, I think is her name, be quiet, the adults are talking. Mind you, she has a mother, an adult brother, and an adult sister. None of them stand up for her. This woman who is in her 20s. Her 20s. She's not like 19. She's in her 20s. She doesn't stand up for herself. No. The love interest stands up for her. Okay? But literally every single person should have been like, excuse me? Be quiet, the adults are talking. When I read this a couple of years ago. Still just like nails on a chalkboard. Just no. And honestly, I never read the third book because it's about her sister, and I don't want to read about the stupid family again. No. I love the middle book about a side character. Love that. Could not deal. I'm sorry. Like, I have a younger sister. I've stood up for her to our parents multiple times. As a child, as a teenager. I haven't had to do it so much as an adult, but I still would. She's like 23, and nobody's like, actually she's a grown woman who runs a very successful business, which doesn't matter. Why should it matter? Why should it matter how successful her career is? You should not be treating her like that. No. Then I have All Things Burned by Jodie Slaughter. This is a hitman romance. All right, it was good. Another 4-star. Lots of great writing, lots of great chemistry, all the things. But I had such a huge problem with the plot hole issue. Okay. The entire reason that they meet is she hires him as a hitman, right? And the reason why she does that is so that the hit can't be traced back to her. It's like her ex-boyfriend or her stalker or something like that. It's someone who's continuing to escalate, and she wants him taken out. I'm with you. All right? He deserves to die. Okay. I'm right there with you. But he keeps delaying doing the hit so he can spend more time with her. And he's not supposed to be spending any time with her, because otherwise then people could be like, oh yeah, she was hanging out with the hitman and this guy got whacked. Maybe a connection. Like, they weren't supposed to be together at all. She was just supposed to pay him. He would do the job. they would never see each other again. Okay, obviously they're gonna see each other. Fine. Okay. Like, still, you're being ridiculous with it. You're being dumb with it. I'm not a fan of what you're doing. But okay. She does the hit with him. She does the hit with him. The entire point is that you have an alibi of being somewhere else at the time of the murder. That's why you hired a hitman in the first place. If you're with the hitman doing the job, literally the entire story was pointless because you missed the entire point of not being there and not being the one to kill him. They don't even get away with it. They don't even get away with it. The entire point of hiring, I can't get over this. The entire point of hiring a hitman is that you have an alibi and it can't be traced back to you. If you are currently dating publicly the hitman and are present and help to kill the victim, that you hired a hitman because everybody would suspect you of killing him because you have motive. Too dumb to live. I just, no. Lastly, I Married a Lizardman by Regine Abel. This is a matchmaker alien one. The female alien is basically human but on a different world, and it's a farming planet, and then she goes and marries this chief of an indigenous tribe to this planet, and they are lizard people. So he's got scales, he's got a lizard head, he's got a tail. He doesn't like shift. He's just like human stand-up lizard man. My big issue with this book, you can kind of view it as white saviorism, but you don't have to. She solves every single thing in the entire book. The entire book. She solves the farming issues. She solves the marketing issues. She solves the legal issues. She solves the toxic where are all the animals going issues. She solves the financial bartering. She does everything single-handedly. I liked the other people in the story, but what were they there for? They didn't accomplish anything, and they should have. There was no reason for her to be the only source of all things good. And it annoyed me because, like, one or two things, yeah, sure. Like, some of the things, there was one thing where, like, her human senses, because they were duller, it didn't affect her as quickly, so she was able to kind of notice what was happening. That makes sense. Okay, all right. Even the farming thing. Okay, all right. The indigenous people were actually used as slaves for farming for a company, and they did it very unethically. Obviously, one, slaves, but two, environmentally, they were pouring poison into the fields and all the things. So they're no longer allowed to do that or anything. But she's, you know, farming ethically and using a machine to plant her rows and stuff. Okay, even like those two things, it's a lot, but okay, but she solved everything, even things that she had no experience with and they had a lot of experience with, and it just didn't make sense. And even if it was just two white people in contemporary, right, so you take all of the white saviorism out of it, it would still really annoy me for one character to be the source of all things and the other one is just there for sex and affection. Like, I don't like that. It's not a partnership, and it is annoying. And he even talks about in the book how he kind of feels useless, and it's like, yeah, because the author made you useless. I don't know what to tell you. He isn't useless, and he's very capable, but at the same time, he doesn't solve any of the plot points in the book, and that was a no-go for me. So, literally did enjoy all these books. We're talking 4-star level, but every single one had something that I could just rant about forever. Thank you, Kashay, for giving me the idea for this video. If you guys want to do it, feel free to. I feel like it would be a little bit different for everybody, but this was specifically for me, things that had one item that I can feel the annoyance in my body. But yeah, this was really fun. Thanks for giving me a chance to rant. Always a good time when we can do that, and thanks for watching. Bye!